Hi, it's the Constant Angler. I just wanted to show you some of the metal jigs and vibe baits that I buy from AliExpress, and then show you a couple of variations on those things. Just to show you what's available and how you can use them, what I use them for. These are the micro jigs and vibe baits that I buy, and I'm always looking and buying new and different ones. So yes, they're copies of other lures, but isn't that AliExpress all over? So if you're like me, you end up with you buy a lot from AliExpress because either you can't afford the price of the genuine thing, or you can't afford to get all the ones that you want of the genuine thing, or there's different colors available to you. I mean, that was one of my inspirations in the first place with soft plastics, was I could get the same design, the same profile, but I could get some interesting different colors that actually work better than what the original manufacturers offered. Now, I would suggest to you, if you can get it in your tackle shop, get it in your tackle shop. AliExpress is great, but you can have some problems. But I don't generally have them with lures. You never quite know until you get it in your hands what you are getting. And obviously, the quality of the original jigs is genuinely better, or generally better. That's the word I wanted to use. Some of these jigs, the finishes go on them earlier than it would if it was the real thing. But if, like me, you're using some of these jigs down near the bottom, you're going to lose quite a few. And I can't just go out and spend a tenner every time I lose a jig to replace the ones that I have. So this is an option for you. Don't beat me up if you don't like me buying copies. You know, we all do it. Well, most of us do anyway, because we're not all rich. And if you're a tackle tart like me, look at all these nice shinies I've got. I keep them because I don't take too many. And a little Mabao box, or Mabao, however you say that, lure game case. You can get these in 3 different colours. You get the blue here, which is, you can put your dividers where you like, lengthways like that. You can get the black one, which has shorter dividers, which you can break up sections within, and you also get a slip foam version. I find them excellent. They do stack, they can clip to each other. So if you get 3 or 4, you can clip them to each other, but they do limit what you take, and that's half the thing with me. I've got to limit what I take because I'll take too much. I always take the kitchen sink. I'm trying to condense everything I do at the moment. So there's the box, and you can see the lengthways dividers there in this blue box. You can see all sorts of different colors and things and styles of jig that I do have. One of the only ones I haven't taken out is this style as well. So let's put that there. So let's start off with the vibe baits at the top. Let's talk about what they are, what I do with them, what I try and catch with them. So if you don't know already, a vibrate, I mean, it says in the name, it vibrates a lot, really fast, and it's got a high vibration. You can get various ones. So if we just work from left to right here, here's a little, I think it's about 2.5 grams. I don't think it says on it, so it's from memory. This is actually plastic with a ball bearing in the front to give it a bit of a rattle. How well that works, I don't know. And a bit of weight, so that it's a head down thing. I personally would take off this bottom hook with these. They're such small baits anyway. And then that can sit on the deck if you can work it down to it in shallow water. And this hook is facing up, so that'll be the one that catches them, and hopefully not so much the weed in that, because I do like to get my vibe baits down near the bottom and check out all the different layers of the water column, which is an important thing to do with these jigs, and I'll talk about them as we go along. So yeah, this one's made of plastic and just has one attachment point there, so it's a fixed vibration you're going to get. But a cracking little lure, you can see there, that's going to pick me up small pollock and wrasse, maybe a bass and things like that. There's another one there, and it's an amber sort of coloured bait. You can get different colours. I just got 2 of those there at the moment. If we move along now, we've gone up to about 5 grams or so with these, and these again are sort of a resin or plastic, but I mean, wonderful colours there on. Some sort of silverfish there, isn't it? Got single hooks there again, and you can see the flat nose on this one. Now, haven't used it yet, but I'm hoping if the water's shallow enough, I can get this to sit on the deck like that, if you can see what I mean, with a flat bit on the deck, and then this hook up here too. So I'll be taking that one off. Sometimes the quality of the hooks are not great. You might want to upgrade them if there are larger fish around, which is easily done. They're just on a split ring. Same thing again there, but with a luminous thing. Now, things with luminous or fluorescent bands, or the whole thing in this case, that you can charge up or catch the light and do it for you, are fantastic in low light conditions. Especially here in the UK, we have fish called pollock and coalfish, and they really love that near the end of the day in low light conditions or early morning. If we move across now, we're getting into the metals. So Let's do this one here. This is a long vibe bait, metal vibe bait, and you can see the weight here. The majority of the weight is there. That's because generally this one's used from the boat buzzing up and down. So you can do a vertical thing with that along the edges of piers or something if you want. But if you notice, it has 3 attachment points. You put your clip in here, basically. The further to the front you go, the more tighter vibration you get. The further away, the more waggle is introduced into that, or the less vibration. Nice size, that one. I've switched out. It came with trebles. I don't like the trebles on there, so I generally switch them out as and when I've got the right size. Next up, this is classic sort of vibrate. This one, loving this colour. It's caught me quite a few pollock. This one, 3 attachment points again. Weighting here, more of an angle here. It's wanting to sit up a bit more like that when it hits the deck. Single hook, facing up. There you go. Great bait. You can get them in smaller sizes. I actually ordered this one by mistake, but I'm quite glad I did. Haven't used it yet, but I will be checking that. Get rid of that little treble though. But yeah, mini bait there. So some of these fish are after mini ones. You can buy bigger versions of all of these if you want to upgrade and go to medium, heavy, whatever style of fishing you want. And then last but not least is, you may have seen these about, and if you haven't, you're missing a trick because they are great lures. I've caught bass on these. Not this exact one, but ones in different colours. You get them in black and whites and luminous and all sorts. And the weighting is here with this one, and there's your hose, and you wind the thing in and it just vibrates like hell, trailing that behind. It's got plastic whiskers and legs built in. Vibration and action's fantastic on those. So let's get into our micro jigs now. We've done our vibe baits there and what you can and can't get. If you notice, there's a blue version of that in there. Another good colour to have is blue and silver. Think about the bait fish in your area and what they're going to feed on, and how you can copy that in some shape or form with the lure that you've got. Not just the profile, the colour, but the action you impart into these lures as well. So if we start off with this one, I haven't got names for them all. Where I can, I mean, some of these I've had for a few years, I will try and find them. I think this is an HTO lure, and you can see it's got the long assist hook here, which some do, and it's got some sabiki on there with some flashaboo. Great lure this. This is fantastic lure for pollock, and caught quite a few mackerel on it as well. And then it's got an assist hook at the back here. What assist hooks are, basically, it's a length of braid, loop braid, which is either tied to the ring or threaded through it. And then a hook is whipped on there with a bit of flashaboo, sometimes with, sometimes without. We can talk about hook sizes. I'm not sure what hook size that is. I will post a link in of a company that I do buy from, and I can go back and look and see what sort of sizes I bought for what size lures. In fact, some of them even suggest the size of the lure that they fit. But that's a particularly good one. I've got that in a few colours, in the blue and silver, in another colour there, in a green colour there as well. Yeah, good lures, and I'll talk about actions in a minute or more. Here's some new ones I've got, and you look at the detail on this thing. I mean, this reminds me of a little pout or pollock that's trying to imitate there. Be very good over weedy sort of areas, places where you'll find pout and pollock. You may even catch them on it, but you might catch the predators more. Even the fin there is molded in there. It's got 2 assist hooks at the top. Talking about assist hooks, I generally like them to come at least halfway down the body, if not 2/3 of the way down, because fish will very often strike here like that. And it's okay if they strike the head every time and your hook's up here, but very often you'll notice they have marks halfway down, 2/3 of the way down the body. All depends on the type of fish that are hitting your lures. In this case, this one's got 2, and they come to just about right, about 2/3 of the way down. So you're not going to miss much there. If you are missing bites, you can add a single hook on the bottom here. Add a split ring, put yourself on a single hook. The thing I wanted to mention was the hooks that we use. Now, if you want to use treble hooks, you use them. If I'm fishing for smaller fish, treble hooks can really mess their mouths up, so I tend to take them off. A company I used to buy my hooks from, my assist hooks or single hooks, is a company called All Blue. There are other companies out there. I'm sure other YouTubers will recommend other suppliers of AliExpress, or indeed your local tackle shop. At least with your local tackle shop, you can look at the size of them and go, yeah, that's the size I want. Sometimes with AliExpress, you think you're getting the size you want, and turns up and it's a lot bigger or a lot smaller. Assist hooks. Let's talk a little bit about assist hooks, because this is something I've sort of wondered about for a while, but recently learned. If you see I've got 2 here, And what I want them to do is sit either side. If I can get this in view, sort of like that, either side facing out, because I feel they work better like that. But because of the way they're tied, they tend to, and then we'll go and attach here, they tend to sit facing in or cross over each other. Or sometimes they'll sit below like that. So what I generally do is add another split ring and tie on my own that I've tied myself, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And to the other split ring, I can either tie them to this one this side of the attachment on the jig, and one that side, and then they will do that. They will face the way I want if I tie them tightly, facing the right way, and then I can attach to the split ring that's on this split ring above as an attachment point. Or if I feel maybe they're a little bit too long, the ones I made, I can attach them to the split ring above, and it'll serve the same purpose. I attach them with links. I use, sorry about the sound, it's by the window and it's hailing and everything outside. The weather's pretty miserable at the minute in the UK. Yeah, the assist hooks, I buy mine online or I make them myself. You just want some sort of freshwater hook, either in a spade end or an eye. Doesn't make too much difference. And you want about, depending on the size of fish you're after and the stiffness you require, £30 braid, something like that. 20 is a little thin. I prefer to go for something like 30, 40, 50, 60, depending on the size of the lures you're using. And I just do a knotless knot to them, or a snell knot, as you would use in freshwater if you're carp fishing. There are tons of videos out about those. And then sometimes I might put a bit of shrink tube over here. I usually always fish in barbless, so I crush the barbs with my pliers beforehand. So experiment with that. I'm learning all the time with these things, and that's something I picked up just recently. So yeah, you can add bits of, you can even get creative yourself. I mean, this isn't hard to do. You can buy some sabiki or buy some flasher boot. You get that quite easily, or a bit of white feather as well, and make that focus. And you can whip them in, lay them underneath the knot that you're tying, or even glue them after you've tied the knot as well, or maybe put shrink tube over as well, as they've done here. There's not a lot to it. You can see that's a spade end with a doubled over piece of braid there. I double it over like that, and then with one side I'm going to do my snell knot, or my no knot as we call it over here. So yeah, they're not hard to do. There's videos out there showing it. Maybe I'll do one day if I get bored, but yeah, easy enough to do. And yeah, the key points is to have a hook size relevant to what you're using. So you better have slightly big than too small, and to make sure that, in this case, this one's a flyer here, but if I had a shorter thing on, it's got to come at least halfway to 2/3 of the way down the bottom. In my mind, anyway, I miss less fish like that. Some description. There's another one there in a more sort of smelty sort of mackerel sort of colour, I guess. Some sort of immature silvery green fish. If we're moving across, these are the things that I catch quite a few fish on, but I don't really know why. They are a slow jig, I suppose. They've got a flat side, one side with an indent there, and they're bulbous the other side. So when it sinks, it'll sink this way down, because that's got most of the weight on. But when you start retrieving them, they seem to flip over and they seem to wag like this. And I guess there's a provocative action. You can see it's got a single hook on this one. I'm trying to keep it still so it stays in focus. And it certainly comes far enough down on the body. But then again, you can add more hooks as required. Smaller one there in the same colour. Cotton candy, I call that, lure. If another thing you can do is, if you're getting short strikes, and you can always attach to this. It's upside down, I know, but it still catches fish. It's a little dodge I've done myself, and it's caught fish when I've run out of single hooks, but I'm getting bites on that lure. Then we get into more the sort of slim gym profiles, I suppose, with these two. Now, I talked about the luminous or fluorescent. I never know the difference between the two, to be honest. I think they're luminous, these. But you can see in between this orange, it's a luminous bands, and in between the silver on this one, a luminous bands. Great lures for fish with small mouths that like to bite, predators such as pollock and goldfish. that kind of thing on mackerel. They do like to bite in low light conditions, and they want to be able to see these things. Got a bit of weight to them. I think these are about 5 grams. Yeah, 5 grams. That one there says. It's got a treble hook on the bottom. I will switch those out when I remember or have the hooks available. That comes halfway down, doesn't it? I personally would like it. I suppose it's about right actually. But you could up the size of that hook on there, no problem. It wouldn't affect the action. We'll talk about how I work some of these lures in a minute. So, these lures are generally coming in around a couple of pounds each. And if you get them while there's special offers on, you get free postage. There's a big thing on AliExpress at the moment called Choice, which gives you free postage if you spend £8. So I'll just go on there, or we spend £8 or more, go on there, bung in a few things I'm interested in, and then get free postage on it all, which makes it cheaper again, and they're generally not dear. There's even a new buyers thing where you get things for 50p with free postage. It's the first time you've used the store. So there's all these options. You get coupons as well. So coming across now, we're looking at more wide. Well, actually, before we do that, we'll look at this one. This is one of my most successful lures. I will try and find you a link for it. They're hard to find these days. But this pink and silver combination catches me pollock after pollock after pollock. You got your assist hook and a treble there with some flashaboo on. They just work well. I just like them. They're a confidence bait. We get them whatever we're using, normally soft plastics or metals. Then we're getting into the more wide-bodied lures. There's a slim one there. Before we move on to that, look at this thing here. I just bought this because I like the colour of it. It's got a little fin here to make it waggle a bit when you're bringing it in on a straight retrieve, a sort of semi-slack line, almost straight retrieve sort of thing. I'll talk about retrieves any second now. Haven't used it yet, but I'm sure that's going to catch me some fish. I just don't know when yet. Then wide-bodied lures. Eventually we got there. These on the drop rotate from side to side or waggle, shimmy. Let's get it in focus here. Come on, focus camera. My other hand there. They do this side to side because they're narrower at the bottom and the top, and they either have chamfered sides like that. You can see quite clearly with that it's in and out, or out and in even, or it's less prominent in that. But if you look down, you can see it's thicker in the middle, and that makes the lure do this on the fall. Now you can get it to do. It'll do that on a straight fall, but obviously more quickly. But if you do it on a pendulum fall where it falls back towards you, it would do it even more. We'll talk about those sort of retrieves in a minute. I think this is a copy of a Major Craft jig parlor. Fantastic lures. The larger they become, I mean, that's about 7 grams, that one. The wider the profiles can get, or the longer the profiles can get. Because you will find these all the way up to sort of 40, 50, 60 grams. And these as well, these are a cheaper version, but you can see this one is 7 grams. That's a nice size. That for you catch bigger pollock on that, pollock for around £2 or so. Even you catch big fish, catch bass on these things as well. I do like this sort of holographic silver thing. Flash is a very important thing sometimes, whether it be something this color that has a glare to it, picks up the light. Sometimes a redhead lure. We all know how good those can be. I think they're underutilized by us, so that's just the same as that. And then we get into what they call in dragger lures here, and I can't remember what these are a copy of, but these do work extremely well. They're a bit heavier. They're as wide as those, but a bit more condensed, so they'll sink to the bottom a lot quicker. But they will do this on the correct retrieve. And there's a 7 gram one. So there's a 3 gram one there, so you can get some micro jigs. So we've been through a lot of what we got there. There are other sort of jigs. This is a new one I'm going to try once I've worked out really what I'm going to do with it. It's got a resin head with a weight inside it, and then it's got like a jig skirt on it, plastic jig skirt, with a single hook in there. Now, whether I add some sort of trailer, like small soft plastic, something like a bit of ice on for a bit of flavour, I don't know, but you could just fish them just as they are. I know people have been catching flatties on these, and I'm sure they'll pick up pollock and all sorts. If you can part an action, it looks like something that's going to interest them. And fish as ever, they haven't got hands to pick it up and have a look at it. They just bite at it. If they think, oh, that might be something to eat, they'll bite at it. So whether it looks some sort of creature or something down there. I don't know, but that's you know, there are some peculiar things there you can buy. But let's talk about actions. Now, you've got several different ways you can impart actions to these different lures, and they will all do different things depending on what retrieve rates you do. With your vibrates, now you can just go up and down and buzz them like that below your feet if you want. We're generally fishing from the shore, at least I do, and I'll cast them out and retrieve them. And you can drag them like that, and you'll feel that down near the bottom, you'll feel them buzz. That's the beauty of those things. You just know they're working because they buzz. You can drag them some more of a horizontal sort of retrieve if you find the depth you want to fish at, or you can hop them back and forth, so you're almost a sinking and a drawing with them. All those retrieves work with these. They're quite nice on a pendulum drop where you flip your bail arm, or you, in my case, my bait casters, engage them as soon as it hits the water and it pendulums back towards you, and they'll vibrate on that. You put the old hop in yourself there. They're talking about when you cast. Usually when I first turn up to a mark, I'm going to find out how deep it is, and I'll put one of my older, more battered lures on that I'm not too worried about losing, and I'll cast it out and let it hit the water, and I'll leave it to free fall directly on a slack line. That'll take it straight down to the bottom. So if you're looking at fishing from distance, that's what you want to be doing. But there are occasions when I want to fish it on have it pendulum back towards me, and that's on a more tighter line. And as it pendulums back, I can put in a few drags or a few hops, which will make it go higher in the water column again as it does it. It's a very good way to fish as well. But think about where are those fish. If they're right out in the streams of your casting range, you're going to need to let it sink on a slack line and then work from there, aren't you? Either dragging it or hopping it. These sort of jigs that are more heavier and slimmer, you really want to be trying to put some action in on a tighter line on a retrieve with these, and then pausing and stopping every so often, and that will make them waggle like this or up and down like this. So you can hop them back to you with long pauses. You can have just hop, 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 hop. You can drag. Just think about where they're going to work in the water column and work the different lures in the water column. If you want to fish higher in the water column, fish a more wider profile lure that isn't so heavy, or let me think. Yeah, more wider profile lure that isn't going to sink so fast. More of a slow jig sort of lure. These do bomb it down to the bottom. You can buy slimmer versions of these, and they'll fish higher in the water. I just haven't found them yet on AliExpress. So yeah, the weight is important. The current that you have. If you've got any sort of current there, then obviously if you want to fish further down, you're going to need a heavier lure to get you down there, and the wider it is, the bigger it has to be to get down there, if you know what I mean. Depending on the style of lure you want to use. These lures, the sort of straighter lures like this, possibly even that, you can do it with any of them. You can put some taps into your retrieve and then pauses, let it flutter a bit, tap, tap. You can do that. Use your imagination. You can see some wonderful videos on YouTube of various people chucking these things out in their swimming pools and showing you what they do on various retrieves. That would be a good bit of advice for you. You'll see the different sorts and how they react. You'd be quite surprised. But if something's not working on the day, change colour, change style of retrieve, fish higher in the water, lower in the water. Now, I hope that's shown you some of the things that are available to you relatively cheaply. Now, as I said, you can get cheap stuff in your local tackle shops these days. These lures aren't expensive. You know, these were £3, £4, £5 or something like that. You know, it's enough money, isn't it? But, you know, you might find what you want in your local tackle shop cheap enough and save you from buying on Ali. But then again, you might, especially in your tackle shop's got sales on and things, you can put it in as part of something else you're buying, can't you? Your rod or your reel, something like that. Support them if you can, and use AliExpress to top up different colours, different things that you can't find in your local tackle shop. You know, some of these things local tackle shops don't sell because they're just not popular enough, and they can only sell what's going to make them a money. You know, they're going to buy things that they can't get a return from. So if you can support them, because more people will buy them, and then they're more available in your location rather than using AliExpress. That's how I use AliExpress. Whilst we're at it, you might have noticed a couple of hard body plugs that I squeezed in here. This is a nice sinking pencil, a little smaller. These all catch me bass, garfish, pollock, all sorts of things. And then I got a floater there, a little floating lure. Let's take it out and show you. It's frustrating. I know what it's like if you're watching these videos and don't get to see everything. This is a little sinking surface lure. I call it. It's a bit like that. If you work it fast enough, it will go along the surface. I need to put a little popping lure in actually. So this is a shallow sinking pencil lure, and I can get that to work up in the water column, down in the water column. I just like this mottled sort of style. Looks like a small mackerel or something to me. All I need in there is a small popper lure. Why do I want a small popper lure? Because these fish that I'm targeting with this, sometimes they're right up on the surface, and a small popping surface lure or surface pencil lure will grab their attention, especially pollock. Last thing in the evening, sometimes you can be fishing with plugs like this for bass, and you'll be catching pollock not much bigger than that. And yet, on the right sort of balance tackle, they're good fun. You'll see me catching pollock. I've done a few videos, BFS, saltwater fishing, where I'm using these now. I'm going to use these more and more because I love it. I love the lighter side of fishing. I like catching big fish too, but they're not always around. And if you've got a few of these in your box, sometimes you get a good bit of sport and not go home blanked, can't you? Or skunked, I think they call it in the US. So I hope that helps. Build yourself up a little collection of a few baits with different colours, and you won't go wrong. You have a great deal of fun. Drop me any comments, any questions you want to ask in the comments there. The more you correspond with me, the more YouTube pushes me, the more videos I can do for you. I'll be back on the bank hopefully in a month or so, and then I can really show you how these things work. Please like and subscribe, and as ever, chill out, guys. Till the next time. Cheers, the Constant Angler.